Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Fireside chat. In this session, we'll be highlighting how our strategic customer, Vetoquinol, will be driving field sales management efficiency across its team here in the US. For those of you that are not familiar with Vetoquinol, they are a world-class developer of veterinarian-approved animal healthcare products. Vetoquinol products are sold through veterinarians, and they have over 100 distributors in 24 countries, including Europe, North and South America, and the Asia Pacific region. Today, we're joined by Jeffrey Turner, Manager of Business Intelligence and IT at Vetoquinol USA. Jeff, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. So I'd like to start our interview with the following question. As an IT leader within your organization, how would you define the role of technology in business success?
So I think that technology in general is particularly key to success. I mean, any business, but very much so in our animal health organization, in that it enables the most efficient and targeted use of our resources. And to give you a really concrete example, at Vetoquinol USA, we have about 60 territory managers, and each one of those territory managers has far more active customers than they can put adequate time into. They can't focus a lot of time on every single customer. So one of the primary roles for technology is to help us decide where is their time best spent. How do we get the most effect out of the most efficient use of time? And a lot of that is determined by targeting through previous data, through analysis of previous interaction, and also data that we've collected that gives us some guidance on our future classification for those customers. So very concrete example, but in general, technology is here to give us more efficient ways to maximize our success.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. The next question that I have really is surrounding the alignment between business and IT organizations. We all know that those lines are starting to gray. What strategies do you follow to support that alignment between business and IT?
So I think that the number one thing is that in this particular company at Vetoquinol USA, we really started a digital transformation about 2 years ago, and upgrading to a world-class CRM was a huge part of that. And I think getting everybody at the company excited about that prospect is one of the top things for integrating the business side with the technology side. We wanted to make sure that everyone understood that our digital transformation is a real game changer, and therefore everybody, regardless of what their function in the company is, needs to be excited about it, support it, and take ownership of the actions that will make it a reality. So coming out of that more tactically, what we find is a lot more integration and planning between the technical resources and the non-technical resources. For instance, when we're trying to figure out how to run a promotion for our customers, or we're trying to determine how to best use our data asset, we don't have just the BI people sit in a room and figure out the data asset. We get them together with the marketing people, with some representatives from the sales department, and with some very sharp minds from the finance group, and have brainstorming sessions and plot an actual strategic approach to using the technology that also informs the business processes both before and after the technological implementation. So basically integrating everybody's passion and motivation to make sure that we are using the technology and the data assets to the best business advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. I think that having that alignment both from the top down and bottom up is the best strategy for any organization. So thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually a nice segue into my next question. And so Vetoquinol implemented the Creatio platform for its low-code process management and CRM capabilities a while back for your U.S. team here. You'd mentioned that you went through a transformational effort that started a couple of years ago. What business outcomes improvements have you seen post-implementation, and how does low-code strategy actually benefit your business?
Yeah, so actually two pretty significant ways. You can classify the change in both revision or I guess reactive improvement to our existing processes, but also facilitation of new processes and new methods of doing things. So, for example, like I already mentioned, we've definitely used Creatio to help manage the customers better, right? We've always managed customers. That's part of the job on both the sales side and elsewhere. But to move from, to move up, to improve the company's success level more and more, we need more robust management capability, and Creatio provides that. But then on the new implementation side, I think one of the biggest keys is that when we decide that we need to track some new type of data for a customer, or we need to make some kind of calculation, say we're trying to assess customer loyalty based on a data-driven algorithm. One of the real keys for us with Creatio and the low-code platform is that we can add data that we want to track very easily. Within minutes. If we say we want to track all of the customers who provide boarding for dogs at their locations, in seconds I can have a field in there in both the app and the browser version that my sales folks can just check off a box and say, hey, I was at this location, they've got boarding. And before we know it, we've got hundreds of customers that we now have this new data point for, and that allows us to do a lot more robust analysis of the customer, as well as targeted marketing campaigns, things like that. And like I said, I think the real key there is that it's so easy for us to implement changes to our data structure and push those through to the connected business process, that it makes it simple for us to adopt new strategies and use one tool to drive the new strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a great point, and we see that across multiple industries as well. The ability to adapt at the speed of business is really what we see as the driver behind low code. So that's an excellent explanation, Jeff. Appreciate that. The next question I have for you is, as an animal pharma company, I have to imagine that there are some pretty industry-specific requirements and regulations that your new technologies and capabilities must adhere to. Would you like to tell the audience a little bit about how you're addressing, those requirements and regulations with technology?
Yeah, certainly. So again, one of the biggest keys from Creatio is our ability to customize quickly what data that we're tracking, right? So you're right, we have a lot of regulatory stuff that we need to track, including things like if a customer reports an adverse event to an animal, we need to track it, report it for regulatory purposes. And of course, we also want a number of different people from different departments aware of that event, and certain folks will have action on it based on all sorts of specifics of the event. So this is something that we can very quickly implement in Creatio. We can create new forms, create new data items and workflows, so that when something does happen, first the customer service team can take it in and document it. Then our technical services veterinarian can address it if appropriate. The salesperson or the account manager for that particular customer is informed and can get in touch with them. And our actual regulatory affairs department can track all of the detail right there and determine next actions. So that one's a really good example of how Creatio really facilitates, and the low-code platform really facilitates a business process that has a lot of branching logic and a lot of different actions that can take place depending on the details of the event.
Got it. And I know we have 30 minutes for the call, but I would love to delve into how you were managing that process, prior to having the Creatio platform in place, because I'm sure that there was a lot of coordination there. So thank you for that. We also know that beyond, the regulatory compliance, one of the major goals for Vetoquinol was adopting a low-code process-driven CRM to improve sales operation and the productivity of your sales agents. So could you tell us how your local platform helped you achieve these goals?
Sure. Yeah. So a big part of it is keeping the sales team aware of making it very easy for the sales team to zero in on customers who meet certain conditions, right? So whether it's based on activity that's already occurred with that customer or simply data we've collected about them, we want the salespeople to be able to say, I'm pursuing this sales motion right now, this sales strategy. Who are the applicable customers? So I'll give you two really good examples of that. One of the really simple ones is that each quarter we have a number of customers that we target for a particular product placement. We look for customers that have never purchased this product before, but usually we're looking for some other conditions as well. They've either purchased a minimum number of other products, or they've purchased a minimum threshold of dollars in general. We use some different data to segment and target that these are customers that we want to target the new product placement with. Then we very quickly can flag those customers in Creatio, and the salesperson basically wakes up in the morning, clicks on one folder and says, this is my list of the 70 customers that qualify for this effort. So that's one of our really straightforward ways. A little more complexity with another example. We obviously have we've got a very talented and a very active marketing department as well. And we have quarterly marketing campaigns where we send out what we refer to as kits to certain customers. And once again, there's a pretty sophisticated set of data gymnastics that we do in the BI department, working with the marketing team to identify which customers should receive these kits. The kit includes some samples of products, some literature, some promotional items, things like that. But once we've decided on which accounts should receive the kits, we can flag those again in Creatio. We actually record them as an activity in there. The territory managers, our sales managers, can go in and flag which contact at the customer's location should actually receive the kit, which is a very key thing. It might be very subtle to somebody who's not in sales or marketing, but when you've got 8 or 10 people that work for that account, quite often it makes a very significant difference to address that marketing effort specifically to one person. So giving Creatio gives us the ability for the salesperson to use his or her direct knowledge of the account to direct the marketing team, who is more removed from the account, to give them some guidance on who this marketing effort should go to. And then, of course, once the salesperson sees that this marketing item has been sent out to the account, they're able to quickly follow up and again record the follow-up activity in Creatio, which then brings us full circle back to the business intelligence team. We can take that data in Creatio and analyze to see against our future sales data and see what was the impact. Which of these marketing efforts resulted in higher customer loyalty or more sales, and what's the correlation between the number of touches between marketing and the sales team. So we can now basically go back to both teams and say, these are the types of things that are really successful and result in more sales. Whereas these other efforts are not nearly as successful. We shouldn't invest our time into these in the future.
Got it. Excellent. I mean, what a great example of how to leverage your data to create better interactions and create more efficiency across your teams. I'm so glad to hear that you guys are utilizing the platform in that capacity. So my next question really is, it's kind of a broad question in regards to the state of business today. We all know that given the current health crisis, it's exposed a lot of broken processes and a lot of need for automation within a lot of different industries. So in your role in IT at Vetoquinol, how important is it to the animal pharma industry to leverage technology-driven innovations these days?
Yeah, so absolutely vital. And what's pretty interesting about that is that I would say now that I've been at Vetoquinol for a few years, which also means I've been in animal health for just a few years, because my prior life I was in the tech sector, very directly in the tech sector, and it's there's a notable difference in the level of technology usage, I would say, between those two industries, right? And I think that when you're looking for a competitive edge, whether it's in animal health or in an industry that's much more technologically mature, the use of technology can provide you with a true competitive advantage, right? And not using it, not seizing the opportunity to use to use technology better, puts you, frankly, quite at a disadvantage, right? So as like I said, we've gone through a digital transformation over the past couple of years here, and it's been really key to us to have every aspect of that fit together, which is another one of the reasons why we're so pleased with the experience with Creatio. Creatio is now a vital part of not just the sales motion and the marketing efforts, but but it fits in extremely well with our business intelligence ecosystem, with our business process ecosystem. So that digital transformation truly becomes an all around technology capability, rather than just we picked up some tools here and there. So and I'd say that really any business needs to do that. As the world gets smaller and people are able to buy things online easier, and there's more competition for a consumer's attention, everything that you can do technology wise to give yourself a little bit of a competitive edge is vital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely agree with that, and I think that the current environment, our current environment, has actually accelerated that path for everybody. Everybody had a technology roadmap, had a transformational effort, but that was probably 3 to 5 years out in some cases. But
Yep.
now we're kind of forced into accelerating that process and coming up with better ways to remain engaged these days. So.
Yeah, and another, a sterling example of that with the 2020 COVID situation and the rapid changes in March, we quite literally converted our outside sales force to an inside sales force overnight. We like I think very many companies in the world, we very abruptly took our sales force out of the field and said, you're going to have to do everything by telesales, whether it's email or phone. You're not going to be able to see an actual customer in person for some unknown length of time. And
Mm-hmm.
The technology implementation was absolutely vital to that. We were immediately able to start looking at both Creatio and the rest of our BI environment and say, okay, these are customers that we need to touch. Here are the customers you haven't been to face to face for the past 3 months. You were probably planning on going to sometime in the next 3 months. Now we've got to prioritize them. Also, we can identify the customers that we think are more suited to telesales than others, and likewise look for customers that we feel are probably more open to things like webinars and a more rich digital experience based on our previous interactions with them, or based on information that the territory managers collect now. So that conversion from outside Salesforce to inside Salesforce, honestly, I think that a company that is not embracing their technology and not using it to the fullest, that would be a crippling event. And for us, it was I think actually an extremely successful event, due largely to the technology, and then of course largely to a lot of people who got behind it and were motivated and not afraid of the technology that we had to use to achieve it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a very similar situation here at Creatio as well, and knock on wood, we have the technology in place to make that smooth transition. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, and it's great to hear how Vetoquinol has, started to leverage, low-code technology to remain ahead of, any challenges that you have. And if we consider like the key pillars of, a low-code strategy, one being everyone becomes a developer, we can streamline the way that we roll out applications. We make it easy to orchestrate processes across your entire organization. And then also, it's a great way to kind of consolidate technologies into a connected single view. Given those four pillars, which of those aspects do you find, the biggest area of your attention these days, Jeff?
So I think on the one side with myself and the other people on my BI and IT teams, we're very focused on the development pillar. What do we build in the system and integrated with Creatio to facilitate better business processes? How, like I mentioned earlier, how does Creatio fit into our data ecosystem? In some cases, it actually becomes the system of record or the mastering system for some of our really critical data. On the business side, my real focus is working with the people that are in particularly sales and marketing, but some of our other key departments, to understand how to best use Creatio and some of our other tools to get that competitive advantage that I was talking about earlier. It's entirely possible, and I know that we have actually got some sales folks who really just go through there and it's almost like they're reading a book, looking to see, tell me about all my customers. I want to know the full novel on all my customers, and that's great. It's great that the novel is there. But we also focus a lot on what's the best way to use the system so that you're getting the actionable information that you need right this minute. I want to sit down, look at it, and decide these are the customers that I'm going to try to get on the phone today, and here's what I'm going to do with each one of those. So, and that's it's an interesting mix because we do have a lot of very tech savvy sales folks out there, and some of them that are very data savvy, and they like that they can go into Creatio and really explore and connect the dots and put together their own analysis in there without having to be developers, without having to know SQL code or anything like that. Meanwhile, we've got a lot of sales folks that say, just show me who to go sell stuff to, and they can do the exact same thing, but in a really informed and targeted manner that makes their time much more efficient. So those are kind of on the development side and on the use side, two primary areas that I find finding that I focus most of my time on.
Got it. And it's great to hear that you're leveraging it in that manner. We know that there are, as you had mentioned, different types of sales reps. So, the ones that can be in the system, go out, find the information that they want, but I find that here at Creatio as well. I call it just-in-time content, right? Like for those individuals that really just want to be directed to where they can sell, we're able to provide that as well. So it's great to hear that you're leveraging in that manner as well. Excellent. So I really enjoyed, hearing about how you're leveraging the platform, Jeff. I have one final question for you. If you had to define your single favorite feature in Creatio, what would it be?
So I always cheat on questions like this. I know you said single, but I've actually got two. On the technology side, the pure technology side, my favorite feature is very much how easy it is to make a front end and back end change simultaneously, right? I'm old enough that my experience has been that in the past, you've got a developer on the back end and a developer on the front end. And when you want to change something in the UI, you've got to precede it with the change on the back end, database developer. There might even be somebody working on a layer in between, and it's a challenge and it's quite a process. I love that with Creatio, we can quite easily say, we're going to start tracking this bit of data. And 5 minutes later, we've got the mechanism to do it. The other answer though that I'll give is really non-technical. I think probably the thing that I've been really most impressed about with Creatio overall is the level of customer service that we get, whether we're working with our actual project team or whether we are contacting just general Creatio support. The responsiveness is really phenomenal compared to customer support that I've worked with in many other situations. The responsiveness is fantastic, and the level of knowledge and the quality of the solutions that we get. It's not just a matter of, hey, we responded to your ticket, job well done. I'd say that the vast majority of the time we have a successful outcome from a support experience in an incredibly fast manner. And I'm very appreciative of that because, we run a very lean group here. We've all got plenty of other things to work on. So there are definitely times that we wish we had more expertise than we did. And it's nice to know that we can really rely on that support when our own knowledge is a little bit lacking, or we need to learn something a little faster than we really have the time allows for. So those are my two favorite things.
And I'm so glad that you threw the second one in there. That's actually going to make our COO very happy to hear. Places a lot of emphasis on customer satisfaction. NPS is a huge metric for us. So glad that you threw that one in there. And again, our COO will be just beaming with pride after this. So
good.
Excellent. Well, Jeff, really appreciate your time. I know that you're traveling right now, so this really speaks to your flexibility, and we really appreciate that. Again, thank you for your time, and make sure the rest of your journey is safe.
No problem. Thanks very much for having me. I've really enjoyed the system, and really enjoyed chatting with you about it.
Excellent. Thanks again, Jeff.
Thank you.